What is up, everybody? Happy Friday.
Good afternoon, I guess, for those who are anywhere in the afternoon. Otherwise, good your time zone to you. How are we all doing today?
We're invigorated. Last night was a particularly late one, getting things ready for today, but we're in good shape. So I'm running on uh, some light sleep and a lot of excitement for the weekend. How are you, Candy?
Surviving my second COVID shot. So far, I'm a little bit slower than usual, and my arm is terribly sore, but not too much to complain about.
You're getting our team on like the second night of a back-to-back, everyone. I'm sorry to say, to use some basketball terminology. This is we're in the doldrums of the NBA regular season, and we just got this is what they call a schedule loss. We're gonna make this a great show, don't you worry. But Candy, this is her Jordan flu game. This is my Jordan, just like game three of the NBA Finals when he goes to Atlantic City to gamble the night before game, I guess. We'll be great. This is going to be fun. Thank you, everyone, again for joining. Candy, without further ado, maybe we could just hop right into the questions.
Absolutely. So I posted the agenda of question categories for today. There in the office hours chat. We're going to start with Cool Cats questions, then Marketplace, moments, packs and drops, upcoming features, and kind of the miscellaneous, what we've gathered. And we did source the questions from the community. So the pretty much all the Discord channels, office hours, the courtside chat, general chat, as well as Twitter. So we've taken the things that you've asked, compiled them into these general categories. So you might not hear your question exactly as you phrased it, but we tried to cover the vast majority of things that y'all have been asking us. So without further ado, we will get some questions about cool cats because that's something that even as recent as last night has been having some information posted about it. So to start, Jacob, could you just give us a little overview of the Cool Cats Master Challenge? Like, what officially are we looking at? Because we have blog posts that if everybody goes through our blog, and scrolls back far enough, you can see the different series that we've posted about it. But what are we looking at as a general overview? And could we perhaps put something about this up in challenges or somewhere to compile all the information together?
Yeah, potentially on the kind of compiling the information together. The latest is we'll have our next Cool Cats challenge come out next week, and it will have a twist. Um, Community, I want some real time feedback, and I know that you all are, slow moded. So if you want me to spill the beans on some of the twist, you have to kind of use up your one message for the next half hour. All right, everyone's in it. So okay, well, you all are selfless for using up your message for the half hour. So we are going to try something new, um, and we need to get kind of the legal confirmed for terms of service here. But we're going to try to meld challenges into kind of like a showcase contest, if you will. So we'll call it a showcase challenge. And we're looking at it as potentially illustrative of what challenges could be one day, where you don't necessarily need to get a specific moment from a specific player, but you need to get a specific type of moment, be it a dunk moment from this set, or an assist moment from this set, or a steals moment from this position, or a rare moment from this series. There are all these different types of permutations we can use. And we think long term that will uh, be beneficial to collectors. So I'm excited about that. And we'll probably see our first attempt for what this could look like via the next Cool Cats reward. So we'll mint up to the number of people that complete what we're kind of looking at as a flexible challenge, if you will. So more details on that forthcoming. I anticipate sometime next week, but it's sitting in kind of the hands of both our legal team and the NBA's legal team. So if it doesn't happen next week, it will happen shortly thereafter. And this one will not be like oriented. So hopefully we won't have people spamming everyone around showcases. It will be you complete the criteria similar to a challenge, but again, this will be a more flexible criteria than collecting a very specific moment. And what it has to do with showcases is in order to actually complete the challenge, you're going to have to put the moments that we're basically sending you on a quest to collect into a showcase, and all collectors that put together a showcase that has all of those moments will be kind of automatically rewarded with that. I guess the community knows it, and it's been minted already, but the next challenge reward for Cool Cats will be a Ben Simmons.
And we had somebody, Jacob, who's just asked in the chat if this is going to lead to Luca not being the bottleneck for the Cool Cats Master Challenge. And I think that's an interesting question, because the only way that this would be able to lead to Luca not being the bottleneck would either to be a reward with a lower mint number, or I guess theoretically if we were to make some of the Cool Cat moments optional, but that's not part of the way the Cool Cats Challenge has been designed. So perhaps you can touch on the requirements for the overall Master Challenge for us, please.
Yeah, you'll need every single moment from the Master Challenge. My anticipation is the Luca is the hardest to obtain. In a more cynical spin, you can say it will be the bottleneck. In a more maybe exciting spin for those that are able to collect it, it will be the crown jewel of the Master Challenge, and will be kind of the hardest one to obtain if you're after the LaMelo. But we want to reward collectors that did pursue that challenge early on. Certainly that Luca has fluctuated in price, as have many other moments from Top Shot over the past few months. But yeah, it's going to be 29 plus LaMelo, so 30 in total. So we'll have Ben Simmons, then we'll have another player who I'm not ready to reveal who, and then that will be all of the moments for Cool Cats. And if you have all of those, then you'll pursue the LaMelo reward.
Okay, and with that, as mentioned earlier, we do have a blog that sort of explained that from the early days if you scroll back on the website in the blog section. But we should be able to get some links up to refresh for those who are joining now and trying to catch up. So that will be something as well. And someone had asked about 2 or 3 office hours back. It was noted that the Cool Cats Challenge was going to be wrapped up in early May. Is that still the plan, or what is the timeline that we are looking at here?
We're in early May, right? And we still have a few more kind of challenges to go. So that timeline has been pushed back. I would anticipate sometime later this month, potentially early June. Don't quote me on it. I think we're close, right? We have 2 more challenges. One, we've already put the framework together. The one following that one will come shortly. To clarify a question I'm seeing in the chat, the LaMelo Ball Master Challenge reward will be a common moment, but the edition size, we know for a fact, will be pretty scarce, right? There are only about 3,500 Luca Cool Cats moments, and you'll need that Cool Cats moment. So I think you can safely anticipate that while it is a common moment, it will have a very small edition size compared to other common moments we've seen.
That will definitely be interesting to see how that plays into market mechanics and whether people are completing the challenge to hold or to post. So that'll actually move us into the marketplace section of the agenda for today. People have noted that there's been a noticeably random delay with the buy button appearing on the site for the last couple days. Do we have any updates on the dev side of things on how the marketplace functionality is perhaps going through some changes or what we can expect in terms of performance?
Yeah, no great updates here. I did check in with our engineers to see if we had kind of more details to share. We're not quite ready. What has happened, we recognize for some collectors it's been frustrating. For others, it's been a relief. So I think that generally speaking, we're still kind of experimenting with what the best kind of methods are. For this specific week, it wasn't an intentional design to prevent people from going to either CryptoSlam or Live Token and buying kind of the most recently listed. I know that was a popular theory in the community, but I've heard on good authority that that was not the intent. If it's worked out that way, I anticipate that a lot of collectors that don't use those tools are probably, um, you know, okay with it, and then the collectors that are using those tools are probably more frustrated about it. So I would anticipate that we'll have more updates for you all next week around that, but nothing more to share today.
All right. And so, in addition to some of those changes that, we know are being worked on behind the scenes, but perhaps not ready to update yet. Some other suggestions from the community would be things like adding CAPTCHAs to the marketplace to counter bots. Is that something that we have any information on internally that we can share?
Um, I think we're working through a few options. Nothing that we're ready to share. Similar to kind of the previous question of when there is a update that is more concrete from our team, I'll happily share it.
All right. And a request, not so much that needs to be answered right now, but I thought it was interesting to request a feature added to the marketplace that can actually filter out moments you already own. So that way it makes it easier to purchase, and kind of finish your collection. So what would be your thoughts on that, just personally from a collecting standpoint, Jacob? Is that something that you think would be beneficial to the community for everybody to look into?
I think there are a lot of things that we can do that will improve the collectability for our collectors. So I just posted the link to ideas.nbatopshot.com. I believe someone has already suggested this. Upvote them. Show some love to other ideas that you like to see. Our engineers and our dev team does look at this forum and puts considerations into which ideas are getting the most upvoting. So um, certainly something that I think we can explore down the road.
All right, so that is definitely useful, and I saw somebody else post a checklist feature, so that would be another good thing if it's not already in the ideas site to get in there, get upvoted. And for the moments category, moving right along, we have questions about challenge rewards that are still noted as CC, or the circulating count, instead of the LE or limited edition. Can you give a little bit of insight on the delays for making these LEs? Because I know that for many, there's the LeBron Seeing Stars, the Zion. We've got Conley still. There's quite a few that are out there and have not yet been closed, and I think it will be helpful for the community to understand why we haven't yet closed those.
Yeah, we generally try to strive for about a week or two after a challenge completes to resolve all customer support tickets. we do have an internal rule that when we get a ticket that is legitimate around a challenge where someone didn't get their reward, we have to re-extend the window. I believe it's like 72 hours. So if we're close to winding down our 2-week window, and then on day 13 after a challenge expires, we find a ticket of someone who had the issue, then we kind of, proverbially kick the can further back to ensure that we don't retire a challenge reward before every single issue has been identified and addressed. So that's kind of the delay there. But yeah,
important to note, because with the blockchain, as moments are on there, once we close a set and it turns LE, there's no reopening it, which means that as inconvenient as it feels to have moments that are still showing CC, we expect that they'll be closed soon, but if we close them and kind of unfairly knock people out that should have qualified, there's not a way for us to fix it at that point.
that's right.
Those are the updates, but that, I think that's helpful, Jacob, to have the information about, the process and how that window does get extended, because it, makes sense. And having so many factors that are immutable, it's important to be working in the most responsible manner possible, although understanding that it does cause a little bit of anxiety as people are waiting for it to close. So we are doing our best there. Do we have, and shifting a little bit, any plans to incorporate the moment serial numbers and any type of differentiated utility in the system? So either through hardcourt or other mechanics?
I think we got this question last week, and I unfortunately don't have an update here. So I think we'll explore what those options could look like. But I don't know. I don't know any specifics around how we will give kind of emphasis or weight to quote unquote more desirable serial numbers. For every player, there's a serial number that is very specific to that player and has added value. So I think it would be super hard for us to hard code that. Just, depending on draft year or birth year or zip code or whatever, right? Every single player has a very unique serial number that's meaningful to their story. So I think that's tough. But it's never say never, right? I think jersey matches and ultra low serial numbers, those do gain a little bit more traction and are universally kind of considered some of the best. I'm getting.
I was going to say.
Sorry to interrupt, Candy. I'm getting a real-time update from our side. The release for these packs happening today from the reservation packs, we're pushing it back an hour, so we'll start at 12 p.m. Pacific.
I was going to say that's directly a question that was just asked in chat, and since we have that update, we'll be able to get that posted, in the announcements as well. Perhaps Luke can help us out with that while we're rolling through here.
We can multitask. You ask questions, I'll put something up.
Okay, we'll do the thing. We also have another question, since you were talking about, having some of those, serial numbers and kind of, those elite type moments. What about the ultimate moments? We're looking at those. We've seen some of them be, coming out of the minting press. And do we have any ideas on how the auctions for those are going to go, or when we might be getting a look at them?
I don't have mechanics on how the auctions are going to go. We are looking at auctioning as kind of the model, at least for some of them. Timeline on it, I would say, is probably late Q2, early Q3. So, potentially in the fall, late summer, fall. That would be kind of the time I'm thinking.
All right. And then last question that we have regarding the moments specifically is about LeBron. So if he retires at the end of the season, which I feel like would be a little bit sad because we have so many amazing moments, would that be the end of his moments with, Series 2? Or are there other options to keep seeing some of his action further on down the road in Top Shot?
Oh, yeah. I appreciate the question. And I hope that this is largely understood by the community. But for anyone that it's unclear, we'll absolutely be going into run it back archives for a lot of players that, even Vince Carter, right? Good example. Like, we'll hopefully be able to go into the archives one day and bring Vince Carter moments to Top Shot from, all over his career. So just because a player retires doesn't mean the last of their Top Shot moments has happened. Because I think with player retirements, of course, that means we won't mint, like, there are no more new moments coming from them in their basketball career, but the kind of vast portfolio of amazing moments that they put together over their careers are super ripe for the picking. So I would say, like, we're for anyone that it's unclear around, and there are some kind of licensing things with the Players Association. But if a player retires and they are on good terms with the Players Association, I 100% anticipate we'll go into the archives and mint moments from their highest highs and peaks of their NBA career.
All right, so we will have lots of future archive potential. That's promising. I think that gets us really nicely as a segue into packs and drops. So we've recently been doing pre-registration for some pack drops, and that seems to have been going pretty well. The community wants to know, since that is, supposed to be a mechanic that's stopping bots and multi-accounters and kind of reducing that, is there a reason that we haven't yet moved to pre-registration for all drop types as opposed to, say, queues?
I mean, with every limited edition queue that we have, we do kind of compliance checks and deduplications. So if there's a snapshot involved, chances are that we're weeding out the bad actors. And in the instances where there is no moment threshold to hit to be eligible, we disable signups to ensure that new, fake accounts aren't created just for the sake of spamming the queue. So I think the concerns around bots are more marketplace behavior and certain bot or certain accounts snatching up moments. We are making good progress there. It's certainly not as prevalent as it has been. And, the flip side of that is we have a lot of collectors that are upset about, purchases being blocked. And that has been a anti-bot measure, anti-fraud measure to kind of have what I would consider fairly moderate threshold to identify a collector or an account as automating or doing anything suspicious. So I think we're making good progress. I don't think the job's finished by any means. We have a lot more to do around kind of creating a foolproof system, and especially the flip side now where our systems are identifying good faith collectors as suspicious, where we have a lot of false positives. We know that's a top priority to snuff out, but trying to do those two things at once, the two things as in snuffing out and stopping false positives from happening, while also enforcing and ensuring that bots and multi-accounters aren't able to abuse the marketplace. Those are directly in conflict. So we're working on it.
All right. So with the mechanics for the drops being discussed so far, do we have any ideas about encouraging people to join the reserve pack queue at different times? How are we promoting that? Because, for example, the reserve pack that's happening today, you'll be able to join and purchase your pack throughout the entire weekend as long as you had already signed up and reserved it. How can we spread this out so people don't feel obligated to join all at the beginning and wait for hours when, say, if you join Saturday afternoon, you get right in?
Yeah, I mean, we can't dictate collector behavior, and when our collectors have formed a habit of hearing that a queue is open, let me run to it. Like, we know that's going to happen. One tactical measure that we're taking this time around is we're putting out Discord announcement, a Twitter announcement, and a Instagram announcement once the queue opens. And then we're going to wait until the queue starts to die down a bit before we send out the email letting everyone else know that the queue is open. But us making a 72-hour queue is very much designed so that not everyone rushes in at the same time. With that being said, if collectors all rush in at the same time, they should know, because it's 72 hours, they can come back at any point and you can join the queue many times. It's only once you purchase the pack will you not be able to do anything afterward. But if you join the queue 3 times and every time you join, the line is at 100,000 collectors, just come back another time. Find an hour that works for you. We see it time and time again where with these really long queue windows, waiting, and maybe not waiting till the last minute because a lot of people are doing that, but waiting for an hour over the weekend that makes sense for you, that's probably the best strategy to get in and out really quick.
So that's definitely good advice because that's something that we're seeing a lot in, all of the channels, and every time we have a reservation pack drop, people are waiting and waiting and then going, gosh, like it's such a short line later on. And since your pack is guaranteed for your account, it doesn't mean you have to be there right when it opens, even though obviously the excitement of opening a pack right away is a big thing. And on that note, we also have, we have the reservation packs that will be available for purchase starting later today. And we have reservation for base set Series 2 Release 34 that the reservation window is open and that will be purchasable starting next Friday. So Jacob, do we have plans for, how we're going to get that communication out and make that more visible for everybody as we move forward through this cadence of reservations and drops?
Yeah, we're still kind of figuring it out. But now that this queue is about to open, we'll probably start promoting the reservation for next week's a little bit more. Probably, I would anticipate more on Monday than over the weekend. But the reason why we didn't promote next Friday's reservation yesterday is we have a lot of newer collectors in the community, and we don't want to kind of make it more confusing. We're going to try to have reservation packs as often as possible, maybe weekly, maybe bi-weekly, as in every other week. But yeah, I absolutely think that we need to figure out the right way to kind of message. Like, there will always be a pack for you to reserve your slot for. And I don't know, I feel pretty good about the approach we're taking. We got over 300,000 collectors reserve a spot for this queue today. And next week's is open. And if you go to the homepage, you can find that pretty featured prominently. But as far as social promoting the reservation for next week's drop, We just kind of want to wait until this drop is kind of put to bed before we start hyping that one up, if that makes sense. Otherwise, I anticipate we'd get a lot of questions of people reserving for next week and then wondering why they can't get into the queue for this week.
All right, that makes sense. So to shift gears a little bit then from the mechanics of drops and when they're happening to the types, apparently it's been mentioned in the past there's maybe a 50-50 chance or so of a legendary rookies drop. Do we have details about maybe if not that, drop itself, but the process that goes into deciding whether or not we're doing a legendary drop, what's included, what factors do we take into account when setting those up, Jacob?
I think a multitude of factors, but I think first and foremost, the most important factor we consider is, will the community enjoy it? Will the community want to collect those moments? So if we can start with that as our kind of North Star or our compass, a legendary rookie set around the best moments or the best games from a player's rookie season, there's a lot of intrigue and excitement there. The second thing we consider is just general schedule of programming. And here's what we know. We know we have throwdowns coming. We know we have Hollow Icon coming. We know we have more Hustle and Show coming. We know we have playoffs coming very soon. And before we know it, like just going through all of those, we're going to be at the playoffs in no time. So will we have time in the playoffs to squeak a legendary kind of rookie set into the mix? I don't know. I would still say it's 50-50. And the reason I say 50-50 is because it's genuinely a toss-up. I can see a lot of worlds in which it doesn't happen, but I also don't want to say it's 40-60 because I think that there are a ton of worlds where it could still happen. It would probably happen over the weekend, or sorry, over the postseason schedule rather than trying to squeak it in before. But that's kind of the thought process. Like, will collectors enjoy it? If yes, okay, can we fit it into our schedule? And this year, I think we're learning, right? Like, still in beta, yada, yada, yada there, of course. But this was our first actual full season of NBA content. And I think things changed from where we landed at the outset of the season, right? We didn't know Rising Stars would be an opportunity for us to announce the Rising Stars roster. So that kind of changed our plans around rookie debut. Seeing Stars and All-Star game, we know that the community didn't love that. I think that was a learning that, again, we can take for next season and improve upon. And one thing that I'm very eager to do and keen on doing for next regular season is kind of providing a roadmap, so to speak, of some of the drops we have planned, some of the scheduling, maybe not like order of operations, but giving collectors confidence of this player will have no more than X moments minted this season. And that's stuff that we're not in position to do for this year, just because we didn't go into the year with that kind of frame of mind. And we don't want to put ourselves in a position where we can't mint some of the best moments from the playoffs because we're hitting a cap that we're self-imposing. So you will see that kind of long term. I'm confident of it. But for this season, the two primary factors we're weighing, of course, are, will collectors enjoy it, and can we fit it into our schedule without it being kind of a total force? And if it's a total force, it needs to be a really, really great set or great reason why we're forcing it.
And for other types of pack contents, Jacob, what about things like team packs? So you could get a pack of, only Lakers moments or only Pistons moments. Pick your team and get a collection. Is that something that we would consider doing in the future as well?
Consider, yes. Execute on, it's a little harder. We would have to strike individual deals with each team. We couldn't just do that right now on the fly. But what I think you will see is incentivization around collecting moments from players on your favorite team. So, kind of this concept of team challenges, where some of the moments you collect will actually kind of, if you collect 3 or 10 moments from your favorite team, maybe that helps your baller status, things like that.
And that definitely is something that I would say that we're looking into other ways to represent your fandom even in Discord here. So in the next couple months, we'll be rolling out some new changes that will be implementing more interaction with the site itself. So just a little preview of where we're heading there, but being able to have, team or even favorite player representation will be important as we're designing that experience, which I think is a good transition into upcoming features. So that was Discord focused, but also for the website. One of the biggest questions that we've had outside of Cool Cats recently is the collector score. So that's been big talks recently. How transparent will collector score be? Do we have, access to the actual equation, or is that going to be, kind of credit score style secretive? Will people be able to calculate their own collector score and figure out what they need to do to get to the next level?
For sure. No, you're all going to be in the dark. No answers coming from. No, I'm kidding.
That's going to be the worst ever soundbite, Jacob.
I know, right? Like I
Stop
got
it.
it.
You're going to get me in trouble.
No, of course. Everyone is we're going to post a rubric that has kind of the scoring criteria. What I want to really emphasize is this will be just our first draft toward collector score. We'll implement it very soon. I would anticipate sometime in mid-May to late May, definitely sometime this month. And will accompany kind of the release of collector score, where you're going to be able to go to kind of the pack page and see if you're eligible or not. And we'll accompany that with a blog that kind of breaks down how collector score is tabulated early on. Long term, for sure, we're going to make tweaks, updates, make it more dynamic, make it more gamified. So, I think in the first draft, you're going to see it's largely just kind of attributing point values to the type of moment, be it rare, be it from series 1, be it common, whatever. And then long term, the ideas of stacking moments, burning you or earning you extra points, or ultra low serial numbers, or collecting former teammates of each other. Like, there are a lot of ways to gamify it. We need to figure out all the right permutations and combinations to it. But yeah, that all of that is coming soon.
And so that's, kind of a extension of one of the questions that wondered if challenges are also a factor in collector score. So we could theoretically pull in things like challenge completion or even challenge reward ownership.
Challenge reward ownership, for sure. Those moments are going to have added weight toward your collector score. On the initial go round, I can't say for certain whether you collecting the challenge or you completing the challenge yourself gives you perks compared to just owning a challenge reward moment. But long term, the hope is certainly to use baller status, a lot of different angles to make collector score more dynamic.
And would there be extra perks or utility associated with the collector score? Obviously, we've seen, some talk about collector score being used for, kind of dividing up access levels, perhaps. But what about other perks, things like uploading custom avatars, or, what are we going to be using this for exactly?
Collector score.
Yeah.
Well, I think collector score's primary use case is determining eligibility for pack drops, and giving just every collector a very firm, objective measure of where they stand in the community as far as their collection. Now, baller status is not going away. They're not replacing each other, but baller status will be kind of deprioritized as far as emphasizing how good a collector you are and make that more achievement based. So collector score is going to be dynamic. So if you sell moments, your score goes down. Baller status will only always go up. As you achieve more things, you'll check those boxes. You can sell moments from your collection. Those boxes won't get unchecked. But I think baller status is more where we're going to aim to have customizations of your profile and do cool things like getting alternative logos or profile frames, all of those ideas that we have for long term. Collector score is much more a utility based measurement of getting into drops and whatnot.
All right. And so with collector score being something that is utility based for getting into drops, do we anticipate that it will have any impact on things like, the ticket drops? So given the fact that, there's a very limited number of S1 packs that are going to be available via, the trade-in tickets, will collector score have an impact there as well?
That I can't speak to with certainty, so I'll have to hold off there, unfortunately. I appreciate the question. I just don't want to give the wrong info.
All right, that's always appreciated, not, spreading misinformation just to provide an answer. How about ways or actions that could potentially, either right now or in the future, negatively impact collector score? Do we have any mechanics like that exist currently or we consider implementing? The example provided was things like listing moments significantly below ask, or quality of the sales you're making. Would those be things that we would look into implementing as well to do some market regulation?
It's an interesting idea. I can safely say that idea has not come up on my radar, so it's likely not going to be actioned anytime too soon. But if we, continue to find value out of, using collector score for reasons like that, I wouldn't put it past us to be open-minded about doing it long term.
All right. And I know we're still in the upcoming features section, and we've already covered Cool Cats, but I think that, Jacob, it really would behoove us to go back and touch again on the next Cool Cats challenge, because I'm seeing a lot of Twitter action, and also some of the comments that were in Discord here were a little bit negative earlier. And I think that that's because we haven't necessarily been as clear as we could have been for how a showcase challenge would work. A lot of the concern I'm seeing is for people who, when we mentioned that the Cool Cats challenge could be in a showcase format, they're concerned about the requirement to get likes and do the social sharing. As opposed to with challenges, you have the moments it, self-selects for you. Would you say that for this, the primary difference really is that you have to plug the pieces into the slots instead of Top Shot automatically doing that for you?
Correct. So
that's the primary difference.
This showcase contest or this showcase challenge will have zero emphasis on social sharing of your showcase, zero emphasis on number of likes your showcase receives. We're basically sending you on a quest. Make a showcase with these types of moments. No moment can serve two of the requirements. So you need to have X number of moments. I think it's probably going to be around 9 moments. Put together that showcase. It's going to be flexible. There's some set requirements. There's some position requirements. There are some play type requirements. If you do that, we will be able to see, and you make a showcase with those moments, we'll be able to automatically detect did you meet the requirements? Okay, yes, we're going to drop you this challenge reward. So that's kind of the idea there. There's nothing around kind of sharing it. There's no requirement to get a ton of likes on it. The flashier you make your showcase submission won't impact the serial numbers you receive on the challenge reward. If you do the challenge, if you do the showcase challenge, you will get rewarded.
And the difference is that because there's the flexibility to use multiple moments for a single requirement, we can't default put that in a like the normal challenge structure, because normal challenges, if you look at the screen, you can see that there's one slot, only one moment will fit that. So with a showcase, you have the flexibility to complete the quest with a variety of options. So that's I think that's important for people to understand. It's giving you more flexibility to complete the challenge.
Right. And what I really want to stress here is it's a test, right? We're experimenting. If we think that this works, if the community responds favorably to this, we are going to be able to start building features around challenges to make this more integrated. We're using showcases as kind of a hack to being able to test this feature out. And if it is received well and the community likes it, then we can actually build real tools to make it better. So someone asks around, will it impact baller status? No, but long term, if this works out, then we can build a feature within challenges that does positively impact baller status.
And we have a question about whether or not there will be an indicator to let people know that they have successfully completed the showcase challenge. So since you noted there's a way on our end to confirm that they've done it, can we provide a flag that will let the collector know that they've done it as well?
To my knowledge, no, but the requirements will be very straightforward. So you'll be able to cross-check and do that yourself. And the reason why we're doing this with Cool Cats, because I see some collectors in the community saying we shouldn't experiment at the end. When we initially rolled out Cool Cats, we did say one of the challenge rewards would be a showcase contest related reward. We are making the showcase contest intentionally a very accessible and flexible way to complete a showcase contest and get rewarded. We can mint a ton of these moments up to the number of people that complete it. There will be no bottleneck because there's no one moment you need to collect. There's a variety of moments. So for a lot of those reasons, we think it's the right time.
All right. And do we also, interestingly, have plans on releasing common challenges that are not related to a set series like Cool Cats or Hustle and Show? Could we just random challenges?
Yeah, I think absolutely something we could do. No immediate plans there, but I think it's certainly something we'd be open to.
Fantastic. So I'm glad that we covered that a little bit more, because that, seeing the feedback, I feel like we hadn't been clear. So hopefully this has cleared that up a little bit more for people and relieve some of the stress of, oh my goodness, with the social sharing. Like, we just need you to be able to put moments in slots. That's the extent that it needs to go. So let's move on to, we've got about 10 minutes left in office hours. So we're going to move on to the miscellaneous, kind of wrap up all the questions. Do we have an update on the Shots for Shots and other charity partnerships going on with NBA Top Shot happening soon?
Yeah, so all of these partnerships are community-led, first and foremost. So Top Shot's not taking an official editorial position other than we want to be supportive of great causes around the world as much as we can in kind of a very community-oriented context. So Shots for Shots raised $37,000 for charity to help kind of underprivileged and disenfranchised communities across the United States gain access to PPE, vaccines, food, a lot of great things. So we're very happy and excited that we were able to help. And tomorrow there will be a stream on Steph Pseudo's Twitch. So thank you, Steph, for volunteering with USO, which is a great organization to help military veterans in a multitude of ways. So I think you may even see an NBA player in particular, if it works out. One of the community favorites will be joining that stream. So super exciting, and there will be an auction around some great moments. So please show up and show some support, and compete to get some great moments from a stream that will all proceeds will benefit a great cause.
All right. And in other things that are exciting and kind of moving forward in Top Shot, do we have anything that is upcoming the next couple weeks that perhaps has been teased but not fully elaborated on that we can provide additional details?
Let's see. I think we're going to have a former NBA All-Star co-hosting an upcoming stream. Excited about that. It'll be, as long as things go according to plan, which sometimes they don't, it'll be a particularly topical set for them. And no, it's not Vince Carter for throwdowns, though you all can dream. But it will be another former All-Star from a similar era of time, and certainly someone that the community, if you're an NBA fan, you will be excited to see them on Top Shot. Beyond that, I would say we are starting to explore what a potential playoff show could look like. So streaming, getting players online to stream with us, talk the playoffs, talk Top Shot, do fun interactive mini games. There's a lot of great stuff we can do. So no players to name yet, but certainly some community favorites will be a part of that show. And I think we can anticipate it will happen kind of all season long.
All right. And so other things, people have been asking still about not only hard court and exciting things, but also NBA Top Shot Fantasy, if that's something we'll ever get into, and this NBATopShot.com/tournaments page. Like, what have we got on the gamification front here?
Yeah, no details to share. We did some kind of testing last season around that. So those who discovered, kudos to you. We're looking into what we can do this playoffs. There are some kind of licensing things we'll need to work through. But utility and gamification around Top Shot moments is absolutely something we're excited about. I see someone in the community mentioning Swish, SWYYSH. That's been a great platform for community members to play some fantasy games with their moments. So would recommend that for anyone that is interested. But yeah, no hard updates on fantasy or tournaments on Top Shot.
Okay, no tournaments and hard court.
Latest with hardcore, it's kind of the same. Very early testing with a very select kind of cohort of people, just trying to gather data, get insights, figure out ways that we can continue to improve. And yeah, nothing beyond that.
All right. So speaking of improving, there was a question about, and I think this is fair, since we have the dedicated announcements channel, can we, as a team, prioritize posting updates there and the NBA Top Shot updates Twitter account, which if you're not following, that's a good place to go. So that way we can consolidate, everything like blogs and drops and challenge updates in places where people know exactly where to look. Are those the places that we should be sending folks to the announcements in the Top Shot updates Twitter?
Yeah, generally speaking, announcements and site status issues on Discord are great channels to get the latest from our team. Top Shot updates on Twitter is another great resource. You can follow me at Eisenberg43 on Twitter. Generally, we try to put out updates far and wide all around. And there are some updates that we just don't want to commit an entire email to for bandwidth reasons and urgency reasons about how much we need to surface this to everyone. But yeah, Candy shared the link to updates on Twitter. That's a great resource. Highly recommend. We tend to stay on top of updating there.
That definitely is a goal that I know we're not always consistent with getting things out there in Discord first. So that'll be something that we can continue to strive toward because, having your Twitter, Jacob, is awesome, but it's a lot for people to keep up on.
Sure. I mean, look, I think at the end of the day, we've made a lot of great progress there. And this isn't me being defensive. I think like yesterday I got off of a stream and I shared an update because I had gotten a few DMs around what's the latest. And then it was up on updates Twitter shortly thereafter. So we will continue to improve and work toward it. I would recommend, again, updates Twitter and announcements and site status issues channels on Discord. And you can follow me on Twitter for kind of any little things. I'll share my account just in case that's helpful for anyone. But yeah, generally speaking, you'll see them on
Cross-posted in multiple places.
Yeah,
So
ideally.
even if it is like on your Twitter first, we will get them the other places.
Absolutely. And frankly, like the update I shared on Twitter yesterday was not something that I would constitute as need to know knowledge. We had released Cool Cats the previous 2 weeks on Thursdays, so I understand the community anticipation that it would happen again on Thursday. But we had never explicitly said that Cool Cats challenges will be released on Thursdays, right? So in that case, I didn't feel like it was necessarily urgent to put on status Twitter, but getting feedback from the community, we'll continuously work on it.
That is good to know, and I think that's important for the community to understand where to look for the big news, but also that sometimes things are smaller, and if it feels like a big thing, and we can definitely adjust with feedback. Somebody had also asked about, and I made a tweet the other day of having my super awesome Ibaka headbutt moment on my mural. And so people are now asking, outside of third parties, does NBA Top Shot have plans for developing things like our own display frames or cases for moments? Think of Infinite Object or any of those other things. Are we looking at physical ways to display NFTs?
Yeah, potentially. And that might include partnering with some of the brands you just mentioned and supporting them as they make great hardware. But I don't have great updates there. What I can say for certainty is Candy has a badass frame in her office, and every time we're in a meeting, I'm jealous watching Serge Ibaka highlights. I think long term, we might venture into those areas, but nothing is on the immediate radar.
All right, so we'll look into alternate options in the meantime. I know we're right at the hour mark, so I don't want to keep you extra. Is there anything else, though, Jacob, that you think that we need to share before we end the office hours for today?
No, I think the queue is now opening up from the latest I've heard. So I would implore you all to not rush right now because you do have 71 hours to do it. But yeah, absolutely excited for reservation packs to be a thing that's here to stay. I appreciate you all taking some time out of your Friday to hang with us. A lot of great stuff on the near horizon. Next week, we're adding 3 just superstar marketers to our team, and I'll be excited to, have a lot more bandwidth, hopefully, to be able to start doing more streams and doing more fun events. Maybe we'll be able to bring on those superstars to join office hours down the road. But showcase challenge rewards, be it the packs, be it credits, those will drop at some point next week. I anticipate before May 12th, which is next Wednesday. That's the date that we've committed to in our terms of service. So we'll uphold that unless anything goes wrong. I would ask that you all give us, a little bit of a buffer to May 14th at the latest, but I anticipate May 12th, and I'll update you if anything kind of needs to get pushed back a day or two. I think what we really want to make sure of is that we're not rewarding bad actors. So if people are creating multiple showcases, being able to duplicate them and ensure that they only get one reward and things like that. But should be happening soon, and looking forward to it. All right, I'm gonna jump into another meeting, but community, really, really appreciate it, and looking forward to chatting soon.
Thank you all for hanging out with us today. We'll get the replay up on YouTube as well for anybody who may have missed it. And we'll keep collecting questions for our next office hours as well. Have a good day, everyone. Good luck getting your packs if you pre-registered. If you haven't yet, pre-register for next Friday.
All right, thanks. Bye-bye, everyone. Have a great Friday. Thanks.